We begin with a scathing report that reveals a pattern of mismanagement involving millions of taxpayers' dollars. An audit of BC's troubled public housing agency found numerous conflict of interest violations and plenty of deleted texts. In the middle of our housing crisis, there are serious concerns about whether contracts were awarded to the best organization to tackle the problem. CTV's Binder Sudjan reports.
At the heart of a new investigative report, whether two CEOs exchanged not only marriage vows, but also business favor. The conclusion? There were multiple breaches.
No one is above the rules. There must be strong safeguards in place to preserve the public's trust.
The former head of BC Housing, Shane Ramsey, is married to Janice Abbott, the head of a service provider named Atira. When making decisions involving Atira, Ramsey should have stepped aside. But the Premier says he was shown copies of text messages that suggest otherwise.
I was told the messages were allegedly from the CEO of BC Housing, directing a staff member of BC Housing to award funding to Atira, and also directing his name not be used.
A forensic review found minutes from meetings were changed after the fact, text messages deleted when they shouldn't have been, and an overall lack of cooperation. Investigators seized computers and found substantial concerns relating to ineffective financial oversight, that financials from Atira were delayed and inaccurate. Still, BC Housing kept on giving at a rate higher than what it funded any other organization, sometimes awarding contracts without competition.
We will have restricted any new funding to Atira and physically be inspecting all Atira's operating buildings. These measures have begun and will stay in place until we are satisfied that concerns have been addressed.
Those living in Atira housing include women and children fleeing domestic violence. The province says operating funding for current projects isn't at risk. Atira didn't answer our request for an interview.
The majority of this unbelievable gross mismanagement happened while David Eby was housing minister.
The opposition points out two prior reports raised questions about how BC Housing and Atira's financials were in disarray. Eby fired the entire board of BC Housing last year, and the CEO left months after this third review was ordered. BC United claims there's been a veil of secrecy.
You're sitting on reports that talk about all of this mismanagement and chaos and direct awards and conflicts of interest, and you still see fit to give them an over 300% increase in their funding allocation.
Now, I've been accused of a number of things in this House, but covering up mismanagement that took place under the watch of the previous government is not one of them. That's a new one.
BC Housing says it accepts all the recommendations, and while the latest report found no evidence any person pocketed public money, it also notes there's a bunch of financial information auditors just didn't have access to. Binder Sudjan, CTV News, Victoria.